Welcome. It is no accident that you have found your way to the Release the Genie podcast. What would you do with 3 wishes? And what if you discovered that you are in fact that very genie that could grant them? Well, join us now as we discover who our next genie is as we listen in and learn the stories of triumph, inspiration, and passion with some very special guests. And now, without further delay, your host of the Release the Genie podcast, Mr. Paul Rogers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have got such a special guest lined up today, a Miss Deborah Weed, and oh my God, I don't think I've ever met a self-worth gazillionaire, so I feel like in the presence of greatness here. And not only that, she is a self-worth ambassador. The wealth is on its way. And not only does it stop there, she is a motivational speaker, and you're going to hear that when she talks. She's an award-winning author and illustrator. And it's not just the ladies here, the kiddos, they also get some real special treatment as well. So I'm going to hand over without further ado to the lovely Deborah Weed. Deborah, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing so wonderful. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. And tell us a little bit about what I've just talked about there.
Absolutely. I am the Self-Worth Ambassador and the founder of the Self-Worth Initiative. And I am out to make everyone a self-worth gazillionaire.
I just love that. I mean, I would warn you that if Donald Trump is listening, if you see that word gazillionaire, it came from this place here. Okay, so just bear in mind that you heard it here first. So yeah, gazillionaire. That sounds really quite nice.
I might have trumped Trump.
Now, I don't think you can say that too quickly, but yes, I think it would have been an out Trump. The Trump would have been good. We could go on a long time like this.
Scarily, yes. Scarily.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got your sort of your hand on the pulse of so many things, and tell us a bit about self-worth. But what's that actually mean to people, and why do they keep getting that wrong?
Oh, Paul, that is such a great question. Here's something that I learned. I learned that self-esteem and self-worth are different. So let me explain. Self-esteem is all the things that you do to accomplish. Like, let's say you've got a great job, you've got a lot of money, you've got a great relationship. That, if you have great self-esteem, that means you've accomplished and done a lot of things out there. But guess what? If things start to crash out there, especially with COVID and everything that's happening, everybody's like, well, I had good self-esteem. What's left? And I'm going to tell you what's left. It's self-worth. Self-worth is the value we place on ourselves. And if we don't have good self-worth, then it's very difficult to get the job that you want and the money that you want and the love that you want. So everybody's kind of got it backwards, and that's why they have it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that. I had a vision in my head when you were talking about almost having an internal bank balance where, you regardless of whatever happens, that the self-worth is worth you put into your own bank. I love that.
It's so true. Exactly. And that's why I went with a self-worth gazillionaire, because you have to invest in yourself. You have to value yourself. And that's where you really start to fly. And
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we only really truly learn about this in times of adversity.
I think that's a hit. Yes. That's exactly the truth. I think that you have, for me at least, I had to lose all the things that were part of my self-esteem, all the things that I had accomplished to learn, I thought I had it made. I really did. And when everything was gone, for me at least, I had to dig deep, and that's where I really learned firsthand what self-worth means.
So that was kind of like one of your release the genie moments then.
It was one of the biggest. I've had a couple, I have to say. Maybe I've got like a bunch of genies somewhere hanging out. But yes, I had I've had some definite release the genie moments where I've been just going like that. Come on.
I know what you mean. The genie can be a bit of a fickle thing, a bit like my blue screen here, which is also being fickle as we speak. That's an incoming thunderstorm by the looks of it, but we'll press on because it's live television. What would you say then is one of your favorite quotes or mantras? What would be sort of the thing that keeps you going?
Mother Teresa, you can do no great things, only small things with great love.
Oh, that's just, do you know that it also kind of ties in with the theme of making deposits into your self-worth bank. So I can see very easily the how that links together. That's really, really beautiful. Can you say that once more for us, just for the listeners there?
Yes, absolutely. I think I've got it inscribed everywhere, all over my body. It is, you can do no great things, only small things with great love. And I think the reason that it means so much to me is because I was always trying to do the great things, the big things. And when they crashed, it was like, oh, it's the small things, but with great love. That is self-worth.
That's amazing. And I think that, I mean, has to be one of the clearest definitions I have heard, because there's so many words competing. There's the self-esteem, there's self-improvement, there's all sorts of things. So I can really see that you've put that really firmly at the front of the pack. Awesome. So tell me, I mean, you've already told us a little bit about the setback. Well, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. Tell us a bit more about this sort of the setback, which was your comeback moment.
Uh-oh, Paul, you asked. Here we go.
The genie's coming out now.
All right. So here's what happened to me. I mean, I've had a lot of incarnations. I change I reinvent myself every 10 years. But for one of them, my husband said, let's go on a trip. Let's sell everything that we own, put 4 suitcases into our car and travel. And I was like, okay, that sounds like what I want to do for the rest of my life. Now, here's a couple things to understand about me. We were going to go on trails, but my idea of a trail, Paul, was going to Macy's. I mean, like beehiving it to go get a dress. That was my trail. I've never been
through the perfume counters.
Exactly. I've never been like out in the open, but I was so excited, and I had a neck injury, so I have to set this up correctly. So here we are, and we're traveling. We're going to Santa Fe. We're going to like Colorado. We're going to Sedona. We're going on all these trails, and I'm in wonder, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling so small, but yet so expansive. But I'm worried about my neck because the neck injury that I have is very serious. So I want to get an MRA to make sure that that what's serious with me is okay. You know, that I'm not doing the trails so much that I'm in big trouble. I go to the hospital, and the nurse goes to give me gadolinium, the contrast. But she misses by accident. She misses my vein, and she mainlines me right into my arm. So she's taking gadolinium, which you might know is almost like mainlining mercury or a heavy metal. And my arm swole up like this. But they said, they give you a little sheet that says, hey, if anything goes wrong, just give us a call. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together. They say the word contrast. They don't say gadolinium, heavy metal, oh my God. So I go home, and all of a sudden, I just go into, Paul, I just went into this pain syndrome that it's so hard to describe, but I'm going to do my best. I could sleep 1 hour a night for a month. My husband had to stay up with me all night long to try to get me to sleep for an hour. The pain was bone pain. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my entire life. I was crying all the time. I was just holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
So we decide we're not going to be able to travel like this. So we're going to make a beeline home, and home is Florida, where my family is. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to live or die. I'm on this, we had gone for this wonderful experience, and now I'm on a pilgrimage, driving across the road, the desert, actually, just hoping to get home. So I get home, and I can't get out of bed, and I'm feeling total despair, and all my personality is gone. I'm crying all the time. And David, my husband, he takes me to an acupuncturist, and the acupuncturist is putting the needles in me, and he's trying to talk me through this, and nothing's working. And he finally says to me, Deborah, tell me who you were or are. What did you do? And, I'm like a shell of a woman. I had lost so much weight. Like my husband was like, oh my gosh, you're just going to fly away. And it was really scary. But I told him, I used to work with Disney consultants on a $26 million pavilion, and I was creative, and I was this, and I was that. Well, I wasn't talking like this. Trust me, it was like, I was doing this, and it was kind of like that. But he felt my spirit, and he says, okay. He goes, you know what? These needles are not going to work for you. It's just not going to happen. I need you to take improv classes.
Oh.
I'm like, improv classes?
Yeah.
I can't even get out of bed. And you want me to take improv classes? And he says, yes. He says, that's exactly what I want you to do. I want to stop doing the acupuncture on you, because if you don't get your life force back, you're dead, kid. You're just dead.
Wow.
So there I go. And I had been a producer for many years, putting together musicals and shows and murder mystery weekends and all kinds of things. But I had never been I like behind the scenes. I don't like in front of. And here I am, and I'm doing improv classes. I can hardly move, but the people are being so ridiculous with their stuff that I'm laughing. And then I'm doing improv, and I'm laughing at myself. And sure enough, it was like something magical. This was my Genie moment, because something magical happened, Paul, where I went from having no will to live anymore to having a will to live. And then the rest is history. And then that's why I started the Self-Worth Initiative, because I know from so many experiences in my life what it's like to lose my personality, myself. People see my smile. I'm still in pain all the time, 24/7. But I guess I learned counterbalance.
Yeah. I mean, that is an incredible story. And I am so pleased that, you were able to take that turn and find yourself again, because, that none of that was of your making. And so that really shows me, and I'm pretty sure everyone can see, a tremendous strength there for you. And I also know, and I can feel the energy that actually, you want to pay that forward and give that gift to other people. And I understand now a lot clearer about the whole initiative of being able to bring this magical gift. So I do take my hat off to you, because it's very easy to hide behind a smile. And, sometimes you have to punch the higher floor, and, it's difficult sometimes to actually bring yourself and raise your game. But, we know the best is yet to come.
Oh, yes, we do, Paul. Oh, yes, we do.
So now I've got you in full Genie mode. I don't think I'm going to be able to get you back into the lamp, which you're going to kind of enjoy. So I'm going to see now, Miss Genie Deborah Weed, if I could ask 3 wishes. So here we go for my first wish. What was the best advice you have received in your life?
Boy, there's been so many things, but I think that the best advice that I ever received is to understand that disappointment can be the most crippling thing. And when you understand why disappointment, because you get excited and you strive for something, and then if you get disappointed over and over and over and over again, you stop wanting to try. You flatline because you go up and then you lose it. So I think understanding what my dad told me, he really explained to me what that means. So I understand that you have to just plug through no matter what.
And, you know, that's very topical at the moment because disappointment is being handed to us in every area at the moment. And for some people, they've never really truly experienced failure or disappointment.
Exactly. And they don't understand. They think, you know, everybody says fear is the worst. Fear is, you can see fear coming. You see fear coming. Disappointment, it's insidious. It's the thing that chips away at self-worth because you think, oh, well, you know, I tried. And then you give up. But you don't realize it's because you try and then the happy emotions, all the feel-good emotions leave your body. And if that happens enough time, you never want to feel that again. So you stop trying. So that's what I would also share for everybody else. You got to keep on going regardless because it's a physical chemical reaction.
You know, there's so much we actually don't understand about the emotions, and you know, hearing you talk through like that, I am pretty sure that anyone who's feeling like that, they're gonna actually they're not gonna feel alone, because sometimes you think, well, what's wrong with me? So I think that is going to be a real message which somebody can pick up on. So I love, it's very, very sincere. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful explanation. So I've already got my value. So I'm actually well ahead in the game on the wishes front. So the second wish would be, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I got that one. I know that one. Real easy. Real easy.
Have I just thrown you a nice picture ball, which you're going to clout out the stadium now?
No, here's the thing. When I was little, they thought I was like Shirley Temple. I was always skipping. My dad would say, "You're always skipping. You never walk." But I was sensitive. I was very creative, sensitive, and I really cared about everybody. And I spent half my life trying not to be sensitive and not to be sweet and not to have a smile and not to be myself. So the number one thing I would tell myself is, please just be yourself. Just be yourself. You'd be so much happier. Skip, girl, skip.
Yeah, because, you know, listening to your story, you've been into corporate America. I mean, so you've been there, and now you're a corporate escapee. So so anyone who's thinking about doing the transition and worrying, is their life outside of that, then, you know, this lady here is living proof that there is.
And Paul, you know, one thing that I want to say on that, because I think this is so essential. When I was in corporate, nobody can believe this, I never smiled. Never, ever.
I mean, that's such a waste, to be honest, because it didn't get you any further forward, I suspect, but it just made you really unhappy on the way. So yeah, okay. Well, look, I like this idea of smiling and gazillionaires. These are the good takeaway moments at the moment. So what would you say is my final wish? One personal habit which attributes to your success.
Joy.
Oh, just a one-word answer. I love it. There's
well,
no missing.
I think okay. So it's joy and passion. You know, this whole thing with this self-worth initiative, I could have been happily retired In fact, I am in a way. I'm half happily retired and half like, uh-oh, COVID hit. I better jump back in. So the other part of it is passion. I can see like that the thing that means the most to me, the reason that I'm jumping back in with everything I have is I know how it feels. I'm talking to myself. Everybody out there is me, and it's just like I want to embrace every single person that I possibly can. You know that hugger, the woman just goes around hugging people?
Yeah.
Well, I can't hug everybody virtually, but I can tell them you are worth so much. And how do I know that for sure? Because I learned how much I'm worth. I went through this really rough journey, and I don't want anybody else to have to go through exactly the same mishaps that I have.
I mean, to be honest, it's a real kind of rags to riches story, and that takes a lot of discipline and effort from you. So I can see that, the staying the course, the working on yourself each day, doing the small things really well. I can see the pathway which you're laying out there. So just on what are you working on at the moment? Because I'm quite interested to see how this fits in with what your books and things like that.
Well, two things. One of the things that I'm so passionate about is speaking. And motivational speaking, I am ready for that. I'm crushing it because I want to share with everybody why they're a self-worth gazillionaire. And I want to give them 5 tips so that I can just revolutionize what people think they should be doing compared to what will make them feel peace and joy and authentic and have a good life. That's like way high on my list. The second thing is that I'm a life force facilitator. Could you guess?
If I had to put a name on it, I would know. Yes, of course. I mean, to be honest, you are a force of nature. So actually, if you just rearrange the wording slightly, absolutely, it's a very good description of your good self.
Yeah, and it's coaching in a interesting way because of what the acupuncturist did for me. By making me do the comedy, I realized that you can do a lot of soul searching and going inside, or you can do positive doing. And if you've got somebody to support you in that journey so you can get your life back to who you really are, you can be vibrant. And I know the way. So that's the second thing that I'm really, really passionate about. And then, of course, being an author with the books that I've done for the kids. And one of them is, I brought you a book to take a peek
look at this.
I know it's the mirror, so it's
stage prop. So you're in the improv mode again. So
exactly, and I can actually do the characters too.
Yeah.
But it's called Paisley's Last Quill, and what it's about is about a little porcupine. Oh, let me just tell you the setup of it. It's targeted to little girls, and it's to empower them. Because they don't know, 75% of all young girls have low self-esteem, self-worth. And so we've got to encourage them somehow. So this story is about a little porcupine in the animal fashion industry. And she has to use her quills to be pins for a diva. And she's always trying to make things right. And she's giving away her power because she's taking these quills and she's helping to make sure that all the animals are happy until something goes terribly wrong. And she gives away all of her quills except for one. She gave away everything except for one. And then it's what she does with that last quill that makes her believe in herself. And I'm going to tell you a little secret, Paul, because you're you. It's my autobiography.
Oh, there we are. Do you know what? That's a beautiful confession. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, towards the end, please tell us where we can lay our hands on that, because that sounds such, and it's really useful to have this, because there are certain things which the education system just does not do, and self-worth and self-esteem is one of the things it just doesn't go anywhere near. So I think that's a really, really good thing, and it's something you give to somebody as well.
Well, thank you very much. And the other, I did this other book. It's called The Luckiest Penny, and it was a musical for kids. So I think that trying to teach kids self-worth. Oh, by the way, real important. The number one way that kids have self-worth is if they watch you have self-worth as a parent.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I have a 4-year-old, and it's quite amazing. I say something and he copies it somewhere else, or he tells somebody, and I'm like, oh, did I say it? Yeah, so at the moment I'm walking around with a living parrot who copies everything I say. So I get that. I understand. No, that's wonderful. So what book would you recommend to the viewers? Is there any favorite book you have?
They're both different. For the girls, definitely Paisley's Last Quilt. And you can get it on Amazon or most bookstores. Just look under Deborah Weed, Paisley's Last Quilt. The Luckiest Penny is a musical that I did for all kids, but here's why. I'm going to throw something out to you. Did you know that a penny could be worth $1.7 million? I mean, yes.
No. I mean, and that would help. That would help go a long way to the gazillionaire thing, I tell you.
And I guess I was onto that way back when with the kids. I was trying to figure out what is the quickest, easiest way to teach a young child that they're worth something. Well, what about the idea that a penny that is pure copper made by mistake could be worth $1.7 million because it's unusual and unique, and there's nothing else like it. And that's why it's worth so much. So I created a musical, and we did it all over Florida and New York. Tremendous success. But the best part of that project was the talk back, where the kids were talking back about like why they were valuable, why they thought the penny, one penny, there's two main characters in here. Alistair and Henry. Alistair is perfect, uncirculated, and he's got it going on. He knows how much he's worth. But Henry's been in the garbage can. He's been somebody's lucky penny. He's been in the washing machine on a wild ride. And so there's been a lot going on. And I'm getting a phone call from my son.
That's your next client there, right there. You're gonna get off this and go, do you know what? You could have just waited just for half an hour.
He didn't know, and it's going on and on. Well, I know I'm loved.
Well, there you go. There you are. That's some self-worth right there. Well, look, yep. I don't want to keep you from your family here because you're obviously a lady in much demand. So I'd like to sort of, where, and your son already knows, where can we get hold of you? That would be, so let us know where us find people who haven't got your direct dial, where we can get hold of you.
Oh, Paul, that was so good. I love that. Okay, so everybody can find me at www.selfworthinitiative.net. And guess what I've got for your viewers?
Tell me. I'm a million.
Special free gift.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
So here's what I've got for everybody. I've got Someone Dropped the World. It's a fable for this time. It's a 4-color PDF book. And if they go to my website, selfworthinitiative.net/free-gift, and they sign up for my newsletter so that they can hear what's coming up next, they got it.
Oh my goodness. Well, look, thank you very much for crafting that one for the viewers. I'm sure that the moment there is going to be, Deborah Weed has now broken the internet, ladies and gentlemen. So, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your very beautiful and moving story about the value of self-worth. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can see you had some fun on the way.
Paul, I have, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and all that you're doing to give us all an opportunity to spend some time with a genie. I mean, come on.
I don't know where it came from, but it looks like it's coming out of my ear, so it looks brilliant. Deborah, this will not be the last time which we will see you. And ladies and gentlemen, please check out her brilliant website and her lovely books. This lady is really trying to make a difference and change the world. So let's all lend her some support and make that dream come true.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's a wrap. You have been listening to yet another episode of the Release the Genie podcast with host Paul Rogers. Be sure to follow Paul on the LinkedIn platform and learn more of Paul's resources at www.takeactionacademy.ca. And until next time, as always, be mindful and be sure to release your genie. Thanks for listening.